Alon, welcome to the Profits Podcast. We are super happy to have you as one of our first guests. If you don't mind, let's start off by telling our listeners who you are and what you do.
Hey, Izzy. So thank you for having me. So a bit about myself. I'm Alon Partuk, the founder of Apricoat and Octup. So I'm in the D2C industry kind of over 10 years. I founded my own D2C brand. It's a direct-to-consumer outdoor brand that we started from crowdfunding back then in 2017. We did one of the biggest campaign ever been done in design category in
Wow.
Kickstarter and Indiegogo. Raised more than $2.5 million. So it was a very kind of successful campaign in a sense, but very kind of a big project for our perspective. So we were kind of unexpected to get this result in a sense. The idea for us was to create the ultimate adventure travel
Mhm.
gear. We always kind of found ourselves travel with more expensive equipment that wasn't good enough for us as a traveler. So we decided to build something that will be kind of ideal for us. We call ourselves the new traveler in a sense, and it
Mhm.
works. So we hit something that kind of aligned with the market demand, and this is where kind of I was going into the e-commerce industry, learning everything on my own with my two hands. So in the beginning, doing marketing, operation, customer support, everything kind of alone, and scale up Apricot to be kind of a multi-million-dollar business when we are operating in the North America market. And we are doing the full supply chain from product development, production, marketing, last mile, customer support in-house. And this is where kind of I saw how much it's challenging and frustrating to build a fast-growing, profitable, scalable D2C brand. And we've been through everything the industry have to offer, right? From supply chain issue, COVID, iOS 14, extreme growth, over financing, you name it. We've been there, and we also, I think, marked all the kind of mistake in the book. So I literally think that if you will take the book of mistakes, I go one by one and kind of been through
No.
all of them. But it's teach me a lot. It teach me a lot, and this is where I get kind of a lot of experience. Um, and again, this is where kind of Octap was born in a sense, with my difficulties to manage my business operations and to be able to get kind of a seamless experience and visibility. And I just found myself turning on fires all day because I kind of get the friction in with the business only after they occur, from package that been delayed, been lost in transit, or costs that have been raised from a different operational channels. And like every entrepreneur, I thought it must be a better way. So this is where I kind of built Octap to be the first operational platform for e-commerce brand. And what we're doing in Octap, again, Octap was kind of founded 1.5 years ago. The idea is to bring brands, D2C brand, the ability to get a very wide visibility about their operation, including
Mhm.
warehousing visibility, logistic cost, and to connect it to other data silos like commerce platform and marketing, and to provide a 360 overview. And also, by collecting a very unique data of the logistics side, we can show you what we call the unit economics. So you can see your profit margin per line item, and kind of give you the ability to save 30 to 40% from operational costs, but also increase your profitability dramatically of around 20%. Um, so we're growing a lot in the last few months. So I really like this industry, although it's kind of a very complicated industry in a sense. This is kind of my journey.
I love it. So, I mean, we know each other from before this podcast as well, but I have like pretty much the exact same story, right? So, with I started consumer business, wasn't it for 10 years, found pain points in that business, and those pain points, again, every single mistake in the book, but then you learn, you optimize, and those pain points are the starting, or the catalyst to start either other businesses or other services to make everything better. So I'm assuming Apricot was started because you did backpacking, I know, in South America for a while. So I'm assuming that
Yeah.
experience said there's got to be a better way. In the world of DTC and e-commerce, there's so many aspects to it. There's the marketing aspect, there's supply chain aspect, there's logistics aspect. There's so many buckets. Was there a specific thing or a story in Apricot that said, you know what, I want to go deep on the data side? Like, why did you pick
Yeah.
Octup over so many other parts of what could have been a marketing service?
So I think that on the marketing side, although it was challenging with all the privacy changes, etc., it always was kind of more simple to get the data. So you have like the native integration to Facebook, to Google, to your application, and I always found kind of the operation to be the missing piece in the puzzle, in my ability to see what's going on. And why is that? Because it was relatively easy to get the data from the marketing platform
Yeah,
to see the full picture. And there is a lot of player out there also that's providing marketing visibility. And the missing side of to be able to see how much I've been charged from the warehousing side, to see where my package in real time, where I have issues, where I have delayed order, stock order, to be able to create a predictive analysis to catch the issues in real time before they already occur. And this is where I find myself always struggling.
yeah,
And by the way, the reason for that is this data is very complicated to reach out, to reach to, and to get. And this is where in Octap, we kind of build a unique technology that can read the operational invoice using OCR and machine learning and to connect it to other data silos. So looking at the full 360 of e-commerce brand, first you find yourself working with, and you know what I mean, like 15 to 20 tabs, and the ability just to get a sense what's going on in real time, specifically on the operational side, is very complicated. And the operational side was for me and still is the missing part of the D2C brand today. And I think that today more than ever, brands are understanding that a few years ago you was focusing on growth and money was available for cheap and you can growth without focusing on profitability. Today it's more than ever, every dollar counts and you need to figure out where your money go and how to optimize your full business silos. And when marketing drive growth, in the end operation can drive profitability. So you need to optimize the all of your kind of operations, and kind of similar to what you're doing in Portless, reducing kind of the cost from the brand and lead time to help them to be more profitable. We're taking it from the technology side and help the brand to get the full picture and to save the cost and to be more profitable on the line item side.
I love that, and of course, I 1,000% agree on the thesis that you know in the marketing side, it's probably hundreds of softwares, maybe even more. Honestly, maybe over 1,000 of
Yeah.
marketing on Facebook because the data is so easy to get, and when it comes to growth, especially in the early days when growth was so easy, you add a little bit of a new software on your marketing side. Facebook was cheap, Google was cheaper. It was crazy. But when it comes to logistics, to the actual movement of product, now that marketing is getting a little more expensive, you realize 1 second there's another side to this coin. And if I don't understand my data, and if I don't know how to action my data, you can have all the skill you want, you're going to hit a brick wall. So yeah, I love that you guys are doing that. And we have the same thesis that entrepreneurs need to understand operations just as well as marketing, branding, and distribution. So,
And I think is it that if you're looking on the trend today, I
yep,
think that more and more brand, and this is why we see an extreme growth on the Octop side, understanding the importance of
yeah,
logistic in the e-commerce industry. And when you're taking me back like a few years ago, 2019, 2020, I remember that we put like $1, we received 5x in
yeah,
return on marketing. So we didn't care to do an optimization or to whatever, to if the client didn't get the package, we just reship him or whatever, because it was so easy to get a high return on investment on the marketing side. And very fast, when the kind of all the industry been shifted and we have the big disruption on kind of the ROI on the marketing side, when it started to be less and less profitable, very fast, I think that I personally in the industry in general realized that the operation is also able you to support your marketing effort, because if
Yep.
you will not provide a good service to your client, the retention will be affected, the returning client will be affected, and basically you will not be able to optimize your marketing effort as well. So operational, the side of business kind of started to become an holistic part of your marketing effort as well, and you need to make sure that every dollars that you're saving in every business aspect kind of bring you to the place that you need to be profitable and be more accurate in your spending.
100%. And to your point, I think it's a mix of marketing getting more expensive, interest rates going up, no longer is there free money. All the pieces came into play where you have to be an expert in both sides of the business, or else it's no longer the easy days. It's no longer the Wild West.
Yeah,
Love it. So
exactly.
when it comes to data, there's so much data to look at, right? So there's like you said, there's warehousing data, there's marketing data, there's it's endless. All the data of all the different parts of your business. When you think of one data set to look at that can have potentially the biggest aspect, the biggest impact to your business, do you like even in the Octup software, be like, hey, there's tons of data here, but you make sure you look at this
Yeah.
one data all the time. Is there that data set you reference a lot or top couple data sets?
So I think I totally agree. In today's environment, there is a lot of data that the D2C brand need to consume, and sometimes they're just losing the
Yep.
sense about what's going on because too much data point. And this is where in Octop we're trying to be very accurate in how we are approaching the data and which insight we bring to the brand to understand what's going on in their business. So when we're looking at how we build Octop, we are collecting a lot of data points to be able to create a unified data layer, and we are exposing you only what's important in the business. If you want to drill down and see other data points, of course, you have all the information. But let's take the operational cost, for example. We're collecting warehousing invoices to show you first all of your operational activity by you can use multi-location, you can filter by a country, etc. But on top of the kind of visibility that you can see how much you pay to each one of the services, we kind of give you the option to see what we call a floating cost. Floating cost is this cost that kind of in the small lines of the agreement that is out of the scope in terms of not associated to a specific order. So you can see if you have any opportunities, etc. But on top of that, we can literally take all the cost into associated to a specific line item and to show
Mhm.
you kind of what the real cost of selling one unit. So from storage, shipping, pick and pack, returns, and sometimes you just realize that this product is losing a lot of money.
Hmm.
Why? Because maybe your discount strategy is not make sense. Maybe the returns that you are providing for free is so expensive because you have a high kind of a percentage of return to this specific item, specifically in the apparel space. By the way, this
Yep.
is a big problem, and then I can tell you that this is one of our loved feature because most of the industry is working with benchmark. So how much I sell, how much the cogs, and then what is the total gross margin. But
Yep.
there is a huge difference between the products, and each one of them have his own gross margin. And with Octop, you can the first time see kind of where you have the opportunity or the losing side of business. Then you can plan your strategy according to that. So in one side, you can get exposed to the kind of opportunities that you have, the hidden saving, hidden charging on the operational and logistics side. And
Yep.
on the other side, they give you the option to see where do you have the leaks and where you are blending out money to be able to optimize your profitability on the sales side.
Yep.
So I think these two kind of combination is the ability to sharp kind of the use cases of using the data, not just throw numbers on the client and figure out what's going on, but tell him the story behind the numbers to drive him to a place that he can literally conduct action that will create a value to the business in the end of the day.
Yeah, that's such a good. There's actually my team's working on a calculator now called "What's My Land at Cost.com." What is it? People think cost of goods. Well, what's my cost? Oh, this shirt's $2. Your true cost of goods is not $2. So first of all, there's the aspect
Yeah.
of getting it to the States. Let's say if you're doing typical supply chain, there's a container, there's import duties, there's dryage, there's import inbounding, and then once it gets to the warehouse, then you guys come with data. Well, what's your warehousing cost? What's your pick and pack rates? What's your label create? Right? Like, there's all this like this invisible cost. And someone's like, "Oh, I got a T-shirt for $2. I can sell it online for 30. I must be crushing it." Yeah, you're looking at probably $20 of film costs by the time you're actually shipping it to the customer. So, yeah, million percent. You're saying understanding true cost. It's like there's cog and true
Yeah.
cog. If people understand their true cog, then they can really understand the unit economics.
Let me give you an example from
Yeah.
real life. One of our clients basically been able to save approximately $50,000 a month just because he discovered that the warehouse charging him extra cost on a line that's been hitting in the invoices like $1, $1.50 of multiple lines. And when we kind of consolidate the data, we were very fast be able to give them the insight. Hey, you have additional charges that not connected to kind of regular orders. And
Ah.
when you reach out to the warehouse, they basically been able to get some of the money back because the warehouse didn't communicate these charges, or there is some kind of a thing that you be able to recover. But the most important thing is you will be able to determine with the warehouse that they're not going to charge this cost again
Mm.
without pre-approval, and then we'll be able to save him a lot of money along the way. So you can find these examples in any side of the business, and this is where we can provide you, sorry, with the insight of those hidden charges in the operational side. Sometimes it's not because the warehouse is doing something bad or try. Sometimes it's just a matter of operation. Sometimes it's a matter of maybe your supplier always shipping you a mixed box and the
Mm.
warehouse charging you a lot of money just to sort the boxes, and
Yep.
you just need to tell the provider, hey, divided the SKUs, or maybe your inventory is sitting on a very expensive area of the warehouse, and you can do a lot of things to optimize your cost. So by providing this visibility to the data, you can the first time kind of understand what's going on and take actions.
So it's the data insight, but also narrowed down to specific areas of red flags. Hey, red flag.
Exactly.
Look into it. See what comes out the other end. And that's going to
Exactly.
save $50,000. That's wild. And that goes right to the bottom
Exactly.
line. That's not like there's no cog on that. Every savings of $1 is to your bottom line.
Yeah.
Love that.
Think about it that if you take the $50,000, let's take for, I don't know, environment of a return on ad spend, 1.5, let's go on
Yeah.
the lower side. It's extra of $60,000-$70,000 revenue, just taking
Yeah.
this money and putting on marketing. And when you're looking on lifetime value and returning client that you're buying, it's it's crazy how it can support
Yeah.
your marketing effort as well.
Your inefficiencies can be one of the main blockers of your growth, right? That's basically what it is.
Exactly.
So like for me, and like I think we both lived in the world of e-commerce as a brand and moved over to helping e-commerce brands. So is there any other areas of operations? I think one of the key things that businesses are seeing today is you still have to lower your OpEx. Like you have to be more efficient than
Hmm.
ever. Find savings in buckets, look at your OpEx, what could be optimized. Um, any advice in an area on people's operations? Like, so we have Octup from a warehousing side, even from just running the business. Any advice or any thoughts you could be like, hey, if you looked in this area, you might be able to reduce your OpEx or your operations by who knows what, 10%, 20% higher. Any thoughts
Yeah.
around that?
So looking on myself on the kind of founder hat, so I know that we in Apricoat be able to reduce a lot of operational costs by optimizing the storage kind of structure.
Mhm.
So by removing kind of a product that are not our main product from the most expensive shelf. Not all the warehouses working the same, but
Mhm.
our warehouse personally charge different costs between the main shelf to a back storage.
Ah,
So we
yeah.
remove a lot of kind of pallets from the main storage to the kind of to a less expensive area, and we reduce a lot of money. Second, we always kind of doing shipping optimization to see if we can kind of shipping the right kind of shipping provider to the right location. Let me give you an example.
Mhm.
We have a warehouse located in Utah. Now, one of the methods that we are offering to our client is next day delivery. It's
Mhm.
super expensive service. What we realized that because the warehouse is located in Utah, every shipment is arriving next day delivery, even the
Ah,
basic one.
yep.
So I can offer the client the ability to get the package next day, but to ship it in a much less expensive shipment, and it will be delivered the same day. But also to make sure that your shipping zones and all of your shipping and last mile activity have been optimized, and we see a lot of saving in this area.
Love it.
Um,
Love
so
that. For you, the logistics was a
yeah,
huge part of your OpEx reduction or improvement of revenue. I would say, like, I'll
yeah,
add to that on our end, both when we're growing the consumer business and even when running Portless, our business today. Um, I think for us, globalization was a really big one. So both in the sense
yeah,
of being comfortable expanding into global markets where marketing was cheaper, the cost of acquiring customers cheaper, and not being scared to go outside the country, and also hiring. Like when we hired, we have a big team in the Philippines. They're probably one of the most important. Like we call them like
amazing.
superheroes. And I think there's
Yeah,
this like old thought like no, when you build a team, everyone's got well people. Some people love in office, some people love remote first. But for us, we've always been a remote first company. And one of the powers of that is you can really hire from anywhere in the world. And people are
yeah,
talented in many places in the world. And I know
I
for us,
agree.
that was been a massive OpEx reduction. So both in operations, but also even when you're growing your team, doing so really, really carefully and doing so in, again, if you can't find someone that you need, a specific software engineer overseas, that doesn't work, hire locally. But where it does make sense, for me, it's globalization. Think big, think outside your country, and think
Totally
about
agree.
both from a marketing perspective and from growing your headcount perspective.
Totally agree. We also did the same kind of a shift from our side. We moved a lot from our operational management into the Philippines, and it's working great.
Mhm.
Super talented
Yep,
people. They're doing a great job. So I totally agree.
love that.
This area is totally worth saving.
Looking ahead, what do you anticipate? Like the e-commerce space, the DC space, is constantly evolving. You said some big stuff. You said supply chain. You said iOS
Yeah.
14, and then now people looking for profitability. Do you see a constant evolution, or let's say um, a the way DTC is evolving? Do you see an opportunity in the evolution of DTC and e-commerce for Octop or for businesses in general?
So from the brand perspective, I think that now more than ever, you must be everywhere to be able kind of to grow. So any channels that you can, if it's marketplaces, your own store, Amazon, affiliate, whatever, any channel that you can reach out to a new client is kind of important and super important. And this is where you see that most of their brand today are not doing one channel. Most of them are going to be available in multiple channels. And this is where, by the way, operations started to be complicated because you need to make sure that all of this crazy machine is working smoothly and all of the package been shipped and arrived. And this is Octop coming back to the picture and help you to make sure it's indeed operating is kind of seamless. So omni-channel is definitely one of the things that is
Mm,
important today. Uh, and also, when you're looking on kind of retention and return on client, because it's so expensive to bring kind of the first acquisition, I think it's so important to make sure that your offering is getting wider and wider, so you can keep offer kind of to your client if it's new product, new offering, etc., to increase your retention rate, to bring them a good service in a sense, so they will keep buying from you. So make the lifetime value as high as you can to build kind of sustainable mechanism that you can make it kind of more robust in a sense. So this is kind of, from my perspective, the two things that is super important from the brand side. And again, I think that the top layer of all of that is what we discussed: the operational side, the service side, to make sure that
yeah.
everything is optimized. Because if I will sell to the client and the package will be delayed or get lost and get a broken package or whatever, you wouldn't be happy, will not come back to buy from me. I lose the client. So the cost of acquisition, the shipping cost, everything will go to trash. And when you're looking on kind of big scale, it can cause a lot of damage to your bottom line P&L in a sense.
I love that. And I think this kind of ends off, the typical conversation I have at towards the end of the podcast, which is like, what is the key thing to do to be profitable? And the way you answer that with omni-channel, I think ties into a misconception very often with DDC founders, which is, I'm a DDC founder. I'm only selling e-commerce. No, e-commerce is simply a distribution channel. It's
Yeah,
a way of selling your product. You're a business owner. You're about to sell in any channel that makes
yeah.
money. So if it's Amazon, it's Target, it's e-commerce, it's retail. You got to tap all that so you can make sure that you're bringing down every single dollar to your bottom line. And I think that the one word that keeps ringing again and again that Octup helps deliver is true costs or any red flag of where there's funky revenue going out the door. So understanding your product true cost, looking after that those red flags coming around, um, and truly understanding operations or having insights to make sure you're running operations better.
Let me give you an
That's
example from real life. So
yeah,
everyone is kind of a big fan of Black Friday and
yeah.
Cyber Monday and all the holiday season. I personally have, I would say, not a common thinking about this period
I
because
like
I
that.
think it's yeah, I think there is a lot of brand that this period is hurting them, and I will explain why. We
Yep,
see year by year a dramatic increase in the operational cost in the holiday season. Like the shipping cost has been raised, the work and labor has been raised. So all of your operational cost is like it's going to arrive to 15 to 20% more expensive to ship and to operate, sometimes even more in the holiday season. Now, what this brand is usually doing? Huge discount, right? So you're dramatically discount your price to sell
yep,
high volume of product. But what's going on the other side? Your operational costs, not only they're not coming down, but they're also
yep,
going up. So you see kind of the graph of the operational cost going up, but the sales volume per item is going down, and then
yep,
basically you're paying the price of selling a high volume and the day after. And also on the return side, sometimes there is a high return on the holiday season that you just find yourself the months after dealing with a huge return. So I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's a great to have this peak season, but I think brand today need to put the boundaries and to make sure that
love
they
that.
know what is the
So good.
boundaries of their business, what is the discount that they can provide, what is the return policy. Okay, maybe it's not make sense to offer free returns in this price point.
Yep,
What is the return time frame? So make sure that you are not just jumping into the season to sell as much as you can, and sometimes it can just not make sense to the business, but make sure that you're
love it so
selling in
much.
in the amounts that
Yep,
is healthy to your business in a sense. Because I was experienced that from my side. We paid a heavy price from not being accurate on these specific KPIs. So now I can tell you
that
that
is
we are
such a good contrarian insight, and I agree with it 1,000%. You know what it is? It's during Black Friday, demand is there, but demand
yeah.
got expensive. Walmart is competing for that demand. So if you
Yeah,
go after demand with the same rule book as Walmart and Amazon, you're going to lose money. Like you said, you're going to overproduce content. You're going to spend a fortune on marketing. You're going to spend a fortune on people, all hands on deck. Hire more people for that. And if the demand, and then you discount your product. But if you can
yeah.
hit demand with different ways of thinking, maybe it's buy one get one free. Maybe it's buy one plus a free gift, which costs you 30 cents. So if you could add interesting strategies outside of just pure discounting, maybe that could work. But if you need to discount to win, I actually think I agree with you. I'm sure brands probably break even, don't even make money, and that could be the win. Maybe they want
Yeah.
distribution, maybe they want exposure. That could be win in itself, but probably not profitable. Probably not a profitable strategy.
Yeah, and this is where I think retention and returning client is kind of
Yeah,
coming to the good side, because if you're selling to client that already know the brand, the percentage of return is going lower. There is no cost of acquisition. There is a lot of kind
yep.
of opportunities in your list, kind of client and distribution list. So focus there. Focus on retention in the holiday season, definitely.
Fully aligned, and I like that. That's a different thesis than most people take, but most people should
Yeah.
listen to it. Alon, thank you so much for coming on. We're hitting. I know we're over time. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you. Great to
Thank you,
see you
Izzy.
again. Thank you so much for these insights. And I would say anyone that wants to learn and be on top of their data, organized in a way to be actionable, please check out Octup and an incredible software that Alon and his team built.
Thank you, Izzy. It was
Alon,
great to join. Thank you very much.
thank you so much. Have a great day, Alon.
Bye bye.